Guys, today we are finally doing my living room makeover. This is not a drill. This is actually happening, okay? And it's funny because I think this was the second room I finished within my place and I just never posted it. And I just have to say in advance, a lot of the footage from this video went missing. And I've said that in a lot of my makeover videos because all of those were on the same card. So I lost a ton of footage from 3 different rooms and this was one of them, unfortunately. Yeah, so that being said, if there's anything missing, I'll just try to explain what I did because obviously I can't go back and redo it. So my inspiration for this room actually came from a Victorian style room that I saw when I was visiting, was it Windsor Castle? Warwick Castle. Okay, that's the one. So there was this room in there and it looked like this. This room to me was very reminiscent of the Regency era and I loved the light color palette with all the ornate detailing still being mixed in there along with the floral designs. And I really wanted to do that for my living room specifically, and I was thinking of this room that I just showed you along with Light Academia, which has a lot of those Victorian features as well. And I had an entire Pinterest board of Light Academia homes prior to even considering doing this makeover. So I've been looking at these photos for a long time and I knew it was something I wanted to do. For my living room, I did not want that. I wanted my living room to be a totally different vibe from anything I've ever created. And I wanted it to be very like zen, clean, bright, and filled with lots of light. I wanted it to be the brightest room in my apartment because it's the room I spend the most time in because I typically work on my couch a lot. So this is how the space looked right after moving in. I just kind of put all of our stuff in the living room and arranged it in a way that was livable, but this was not what I was intending to go for long term. So yeah, this is kind of how everything was set up. This is the room in general, really good lighting. Unfortunately, ugly blinds, which we don't like. So that means we're gonna start with removing the blinds first. For my curtains, man, I've never had proper curtains installed. This is so exciting. I really wanted to do track curtains that go from the ceiling to the floor, and I saw this whole DIY on TikTok, of course, where you go and get the IKEA track curtains and blah, blah, blah. Well, apparently it's affordable if you go there, but just for the track alone would have been over $70. So I decided, I think I can kind of achieve the same look without spending that much money. So I got this giant curtain rod for $8, which is insane. It only comes in one length, but the good thing about this curtain rod is it actually is longer than the entire length of my wall, which is what I needed. So, and if you're wondering the name of this, it's called the 𝚌𝚘𝚜𝚌 rod. I'll be sure to list everything that I bought below, but I got these corners for it. They just screw on, and I know they're ugly, I'm well aware, but you're not gonna see them. So these end caps are called Rafig, and they cost $2. I'm pretty sure it was $10 for a rod as opposed to over $70. You can't beat this. This is what's going to hold up my curtains, and you can actually attach them to the ceiling. It has instructions for the ceiling or the wall. And then for the curtains, which I went with a curtain that I was seeing people use when they were doing the track curtains. It looked so luxurious. It looked like a hotel, like a 5-star hotel. And that is the Chandelier. It almost looks like a linen material. It's not complete blackout. I didn't want blackout at all. I wanted sheer, but it just kind of looked cheap having just sheer. I did not want them to be sun blocking. These were $24 for 2 panels. I got 4 just because we want it to look nice and filled out on the wall, and that way when I close it, it just looks like this seamless curtain wall that I was going for, from ceiling to floor, from wall to wall. Crazy. Okay, after I put these up and I walked into the living room in the morning to see it again, I just couldn't believe how much of a difference it actually made in my space. Like, when these curtains are closed during the day or at night, it literally looks like an entirely different space. This wall looks so elegant being floor to ceiling. I can't explain it because I've known for like 3 years that going floor to ceiling makes your room look larger, but I haven't had the chance to actually put curtains on correctly. If you've seen all of my makeover videos, I'm always putting the curtains right at the top because I can't put nails in the wall, so I was like attaching them where I could. But this time I was actually able to put the rod in the correct place. So I got to see the before and after, and holy crap, it makes such a huge difference. I have to add curtains everywhere I move now because this is just insane. It's like the smallest thing, right? But in terms of making a big impact, out of everything I've ever done, I think this is probably the best thing you can do in your space. So I'm so happy. And now I don't even know what to do with this room because I just like the curtains so much. I'm like trying to design the whole room around keeping these curtains in view because I love them. I love it. If you couldn't tell, I love them. Okay. Once I finished my curtains, it was time for me to assess what pieces of furniture I was keeping. This is something I do very early on in any makeover because if you don't, you will end up creating a space around things that you already had, and it just kind of blocks your vision from coming to life. So there were many pieces that I had brought with me from my previous home that I really loved and I've had for a very long time, and I made them work. The vision I had for this room, they weren't gonna work anymore, so I had to get rid of them and I had to say goodbye. So I did get rid of my suitcase side table, I got rid of my industrial lamp, and for the rest of the items, I just kind of transferred those items to other rooms where I felt they fit better. It's also really important to kind of figure out what furniture you're keeping and getting rid of earlier in the game because I thrift everything, I get it secondhand. So it could take like weeks and weeks or months of searching for one item that I want. So I'd rather do that early on. And when you kind of get rid of things that you know aren't gonna work in the space, you now can figure out what you do need. So I ended up keeping my pop-up tray table, my floor lamp, one of my pink chairs, my giant tree, and lastly, I had to keep my suitcase. So fun fact, I actually got this piece from a swap meet. My best friend has the smaller version of it, and we do not know if these stickers were added from actual travel or if they were added just for looks, but regardless, it's so sick because they're very much aged and it looks as if this has been taken all over the world, and it holds all of my Harry Potter stuff. Yeah, I have an entire luggage right here dedicated to Harry Potter stuff. But since we are on the topic of travel, guys, I recently discovered this crazy hack to find cheaper flights and unlimited streaming content, but I mostly started doing this because of cheaper flights. But this is the perfect time to talk about it because it actually involves today's sponsor of the video, which is ExpressVPN. Okay, so the hack I'm about to share might break the internet, but whatever. I don't know if I should be sharing this. I don't know. So for my New Year's resolution, I decided I want to start traveling more, but obviously flights are super expensive. So I started researching, how do you find cheaper flights outside of just like your basic Google? And I found out that by using ExpressVPN, you can actually hide your IP address and encrypt your internet connection to actually book flights from other countries for less. I don't know if this is a known thing, but I only discovered this a few months ago. You simply change ExpressVPN to any location and book your flight as if you were from there. If I were to book the same flight in America, it would be way more expensive because I'm in America. Obviously, this is extremely helpful for someone like me that travels a lot. But there's also more benefits to using ExpressVPN, like protecting your data, keeping your online activity private and secure, and even unlocking new content on all streaming platforms by changing your VPN location to another country. And right now, if you check out the link, www.expressvpn.com/justlanchin, you can get 3 months free and try out these hacks for yourself. Trust me, you'll thank me later. Now let's move on to painting. Now, because I have to paint each room before I move out to not get charged. I did not really want to do the living room entirely because it's just such a big space. It's the biggest space. And so I was like, I think I'm gonna work with the colors of the walls. So what I decided to do instead was I attempted to use my paneling from my old money bedroom makeover that I did in Utah, where I made some picture frame molding. The picture frame molding was far too small for the giant wall in my living room. It was way too tiny. Yeah, so all in all, what I ended up doing instead was I decided I'm gonna see if this fits as a chair rail. Oddly enough, when they were stacked up on both walls, they fit perfectly. I don't know how this happened, but it really worked out in my favor. Now, to put up my chair rail, I did indeed use a level. I also taped the backs of my paneling before I put the nail into them, just to make sure it was perfect. And you can also just use the tape if you don't want to use a nail gun. I've done this before in my old place when I couldn't put holes in the walls, and it worked really well. So this is a renter-friendly option if you want chair rail without putting holes in the wall. But because this paneling was actually cut for picture frame wainscoting, it's not a solid piece. It's not a solid piece. So there are some details in this that unfortunately I just cannot fix. And I tried to hide it a little bit by putting some plaster in the cracks and painting it, but I was like, you know what? From far away, I can't really tell. It doesn't bother me. I'm the one that has to live with it, so yeah. And it's also cut at a 45-degree angle near the edges of the walls because, again, it was for picture frame paneling. And of course, to fill in that gap, I painted underneath the chair rail white. Now moving on to one of my biggest projects of this makeover. So I had a goal to cover this ugly air conditioning unit. I mean, look at this. It really just ruins anything I could possibly do in this space. So my idea was to create a frame to cover it, and I did find a blog post of someone that did this, but they didn't go into detail of how they did it. So I attempted to make my own little DIY, and man oh man, it was a struggle. Nice. Nice. Today I'm making my cover for my air conditioning unit, and I've been working on this for a while, but this is gonna be the front of it, and then I have the base already, and then I'm putting these here, which are made of very thin wood, so that way the air can still flow through it because we can't block off the unit entirely, but at least it's gonna look cute. I'm gonna put this together, sand it, and I'm using all recycled wood from this house that is being torn down. Right off the bat, I was having technical difficulties. The wood at the bottom was sticking out too far, and I was like, how am I gonna get this whole thing to stay? It was really like trying to put a puzzle together that was extremely difficult because this did not look good. But in the end, it ended up turning out. It took me a long time to figure out how to do it. So I wanted to try to explain what I'm doing a little bit because I found a blog post of someone making something similar, but they did not explain like how they got these decorative wood panels to stay to the box that they made. So I came up with a solution, and I'm gonna show you what it is. So these panels are going to go here, right? But they have to stay. They have to be able to stay up, especially because air is going to be blowing through them. And what I came up with to keep these elevated is I got these little pieces of wood, which are going to be mounted on the back side of them, right here, like a frame. And then it will be nailed in place, and then all of the panels can sit on top of it. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, never mind. I just realized something. So this is gonna be too thick to put down here because it's going to hit the air conditioning unit. So it has to be a super flat piece of wood. So I'm going to look for something else around this house that I can tear off a wall to hopefully be able to mount the decorative wood panels to this frame. I don't. Ooh, that's a nice piece. Yeah, okay. Got him. That's really thin. I feel like that'll do. That'll do, right? Nailed. That's a nice piece. All right, so same concept, just thinner piece of wood. That's all we're doing. Just gonna go right back here. Honestly, that's perfect. Okay, moment of truth. It sits in there like that. Oh, okay, hold on. Let's try that again. All right, this is how it looks right now. I still need to put some nails back here to hold this up. So it's like that. And then I have to obviously glue this down because I'm not gonna be able to nail it. And then I need to sand everything and we will be about done. Oh, and I need to figure out how to make this stick because it's just sitting there. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But it looks very nice. Obviously, if I wasn't using recycled wood, it would have been a lot easier to bring this to life. But because I was just using what I had around the house, it made it a lot more difficult. I love making things difficult for myself. I think if you've seen my makeovers and my DIYs, you probably know that. The final piece. This is months in the making. I know that seems stupid, but there's a lot of little pieces. There she is. She's so pretty. I love you. You're so pretty. She's done. Ta-da. Nobody's gonna know. The back looks like this. So what I'm currently doing to glue down the edges is I'm just using a hot glue gun. It's working perfectly so far, and I'm so excited to paint it. After I'd finally completed it and painted it, I then decided, you know what, I'm filling in the cracks with some plaster. That's right. And that's what I did. And I mean, I didn't even know if this would work or not, but I just attempted to do it because I wanted a smoother surface. Plus, working with plastic is like when you're a little kid and you're icing a cake and you're trying to get it as smooth as possible. It is the most satisfying process. After 3 layers of plaster, that's right, 3, I finally got to painting it, and this is how it ended up looking from the back, like truly jerry-rigged. But from the front, guys, from the front, it looked like this. Ta-da! And then to cover the falling apart window on the outside that I could not get to, I cut a piece of wood, painted it, and I alien taped it onto the window to hide that feature because there was nothing I could do. It's on the outside of the building. So in this living room, I knew I wanted some overhead lighting. Look, I know overhead lighting, not so great, but I wanted a chandelier. So I think that's the only overhead lighting that's acceptable in my opinion. But here's the thing, as beautiful as this piece was, and it was the perfect size for this room, it weighed so much that we were a little terrified it would actually fall through the ceiling, ripping the toggle bolt out with it. But can we just appreciate how pretty this was? Because I no longer have it. So unfortunately, I did have to downgrade from this beautiful chandelier and get something a little bit smaller. Now, unfortunately, I did lose my footage installing the chandelier, but I got it from Amazon. I bought a swag kit for it because it was a hardwired light. And the swag kit allows me to plug it into an outlet so I don't have to have it in the ceiling. So that's why you see that chain going behind it, because that is the wire leading to the ground. I love that it brought in some overhead lighting, and I just think this chandelier was beautiful, even though it's technically too small. Hello. So I got this wood embellishment and I'm gonna add it to the top of the mirror here, because right now it's just very square and it doesn't look glamorous at all. And I'm gonna tape it with alien tape because when I move, I'm gonna sell this bad boy, which means I'm gonna take this with me because this can be used on all of my furniture. And I'm gonna paint it gold. I'm going to paint the base of this brown, and then when I go over it with the gold, it's gonna look gold. So these decals really come in handy when you're trying to spice up your apartment, like furniture, a mirror, like any decor item. You can really spice it up with this. And I just applied that decal to the mirror with alien tape. That way I can easily take it off and move it to another piece of furniture if I really wanted to. Simple, done and done. And I'm sorry, I did not show installing this mirror. I put it up with 2 anchors, it was really hard. I unfortunately don't have the footage. Now moving on to the furniture. I thrifted so many pieces of furniture from like Facebook Marketplace, estate sales, and I don't have any of that footage anymore. Guys, this is so sad. I don't know how my favorite makeovers all got deleted. It's upsetting. But I found these two incredible pieces from an estate sale. And I have always wanted these picture frames. That's literally the only reason I got these pieces, was for the picture frames. This frame specifically, you will see in museums. And I've noted it in my head and I've always wanted them. So when I found them, I was like, I gotta get you. I believe I got both of them for $21. Yeah. So a great price. Now you might be looking at these portraits up here and be thinking, wow, they go really high. I did that on purpose because I wanted to draw the eye up and make the room feel taller, especially because the curtains were floor to ceiling. So I thought having them go higher up made a huge difference in the space, even though the wall is technically wider. Now, of course, I had to bring in my rug. This comes with me everywhere. I got this one from Wayfair. I think it was $64. And because it is a smaller rug, I'm just gonna place the front two legs of the couch onto it instead of getting a brand new one that's much larger. I don't need to do that. We don't need to do that, guys. Just remember, it's all about the placement of the rug depending on the size. Now this couch was very mid-century modern vibes. I got this from 𝚌𝚘𝚜𝚎. I love this couch because it was way more modern than something like a Victorian couch, which is originally what I wanted, but I kind of wanted a mixture of different things just because not everything in this room looks old, you know? And of course I put my giant palm tree in that blank space where I originally thought I was gonna put a chair. I put my floor lamp next to the couch on the right-hand side. I thrifted this as well. Everything is thrifted for the most part, except that couch. Yeah, thrifted this. I think it was like $12 from Deseret, but this is a really good reading light and I love the details on this. It looks very expensive. I don't know if it is, but it looks it. And then I got my little pop-up tray table. Okay, I just gotta say it. I don't like coffee tables. I don't like coffee tables. Maybe they make sense for some people. For me, to put one coffee on a table makes 0 sense. Also, I don't understand the height of it because what are you gonna do, work down here on your computer? Like, I work from home a lot of the time, so doing this doesn't make any sense. It's also bad for your back. I decided to get a fold-up table, which is something I always use now, and I think it's way better than a coffee table because you can fold it and put it away, and you can also pull it out and use your computer at a nice height. You can also eat dinner from here. I mean, there's a reason they made these, right? And look, a lot of people are gonna disagree with me, but because my living room is my only open space available in my apartment, if I want to do like a home workout, this is the only room I can do it. If I have a giant coffee table, I would have no space. I don't want that. I think they're so convenient. It also looks really cute sitting on the side. It brings in a nice natural wood tone, which I do not have in this space because all of the other pieces of wood furniture I have in here are either stained or painted. It's just very convenient for me. I use it all the time. Next, I added my more Victorian piece of furniture in the corner of the room. I thought this was a good mix because I have that modern couch. This kind of breaks it up and it's a different color. And then I have this mirror over here on the wall. It's nice for reflecting light, looking at my outfit before I leave the house. I put in some wall sconces. I will say I am well aware they are installed too high. I did that for a reason though, because it is right next to the entrance to the kitchen, so I did not want to exit the kitchen and accidentally hit it off the wall with my shoulder. So I made it slightly higher than my shoulder so that would absolutely never happen. You know, technically speaking, yeah, they're a little too high, but we're working with this space, okay? And I also used my LED candle tapers. These are my favorite, come with a remote, highly recommend. Next, I got this piece of furniture from an estate sale, and I really outsourced this piece because I knew I needed a drop zone for my car keys, for my bag, and stuff would always end up at the door. So I just knew in order to stay organized, I needed something right there that was convenient, and this piece did the job. I also love that it's a darker color in comparison to the rest of the room. It really breaks it up. And as for the decor on the top of it, I added my little Victorian man, which I got from Deseret Industries. I used this in my old money room makeover, and this flower vase with fake flowers. Now above this piece of furniture, I got another incredible secondhand wall sconce for $5, guys, $5 for this. Isn't that crazy? From Facebook Marketplace. I did add those jewels to it, but this piece is one of a kind, and I knew I wanted an additional way to light the space. And because I made the picture frame so high on the wall, I thought that putting the wall sconce next to them kind of made that decision okay, because it spread out the decor on the wall as opposed to it just being two picture frames stacked on top of each other, because typically you're not supposed to do that, but I did it. I'm breaking all the rules here. Now, speaking of drop zones, shoes at the door, big drop zone problem. So what I did instead was I bought this shoe rack that attaches to the back of the door to keep the entryway as organized and clean as possible. And this, again, would highly recommend. It's a great piece, hides everything. And then of course my piece of luggage I wanted to put right in front of the window as like a cat perch. And oddly enough, this is my pelt for LARPing. It goes over my shoulders and it happens to fit perfectly on this as if it's made for it. So yeah, technically doesn't fit perfectly, but my cat owns this house, okay? So she needs this, she demanded it. I got this piece of furniture from Facebook Marketplace for free, guys. It is perfect. I knew I wanted something underneath the TV stand to add to that wall because it was so plain. And this did the trick, and it was already aged because it had been sitting outside. I mean, I couldn't have asked for a better piece of furniture. And then to hide the wiring from the TV on the wall, I bought these strips that you just put the cable in. I got these cable hiders. What do you call this? I don't even know. I got them from 𝚌𝚘𝚜𝚎. Okay, they're from 𝚌𝚘𝚜𝚎. And if you can hide your cables, 100% do it. It just makes everything look so much cleaner. I just hate cables, guys. Why? And because I decided to get a TV, which was for my cat to watch cat TV. Yeah, I'm being serious. That's not a joke. I had to have a way to cover it because I can't do a TV on a wall. It's ugly. I looked up so many different hacks for doing this. I looked into frame TVs. I looked into like a picture frame that you could build. But the easiest and most affordable one was to get a tapestry and hang it. And ironically, I was designing a room that fit this vibe perfectly. So having a tapestry hanging in front of my TV was the best thing I could have done for the space. Like, I absolutely love it. You can't tell my TV's there, and the TV just doesn't take away from anything. And then to light the tapestry, I got this little battery-powered picture frame light to go on top. And I also forgot to mention, I got this beautiful tapestry on Etsy. I think it was like $43. It was the most affordable one I found in this size, so would highly recommend this hack. And I did also mirror the height of the tapestry and the picture frame light to the picture frames on the other side of the wall because I wanted the heights to be similar. Now to decorate this console table, I knew I wanted some fake plants. Originally, I wanted some fake topiary plants. I could not find them. I couldn't find them to save my life. So I got these two plants from IKEA. I put them in some pots I already had. And the whole goal of decorating this little space was to keep it symmetrical. So I don't know if you've noticed this, but if you look at more traditional interior design, everything is designed so symmetrical, and it really differentiates it from other interior designs that you may see. So I made sure to find things that were almost exactly the same to give the feeling of walking into a more traditional space. And can I just say, aren't these the most beautiful books you've ever seen in your life? They are so pretty, so pretty. And lastly, I added a sun catcher to my window. This is one of my favorite additions to any room to really bring it to life. And after all of that, this is how the room turned out. All right, guys, we done did it. We posted the video. It's up, it's live. Makeover done. That was the last makeover in my apartment. Every single room is done now. Isn't that sad? That's so sad. If you haven't seen all of my other makeover videos that I have done in this apartment, have to say, if you like this sort of stuff, you should check it out because I've done different themes in each room. So I will link some of them here and at the end of the video once we get there. And if you've stuck around this far, drop a heart. I appreciate you. And don't forget, if you want to check out those travel hacks that I mentioned earlier in the video, you can do so by checking out expressvpn.com, which is linked below in the description box. Check out these if you want to see more of my makeover videos. I'll also link some in the description, but I mean, guys, there's a whole playlist for this stuff on my channel. But anyways, I hope you guys have a wonderful day, night, whenever you're watching this. I'll see you in the next one.